Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B. And joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Mike Haspil, and Wyatt Turk from Jacket Close Painting. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Hello, everybody.
Yo, what's up?
That was Haspil's best I'm not drunk voice.
I'm not drunk.
I just need to rest your eyes.
Yeah, I just need a moment. That's all. I'm good. I can drive, guys. I'm good.
I'm totally taking your keys. Oh my goodness. Wow, what a crazy week. We talked about, if you're here for the 3D print party, well, that's not happening. It's on this. You can get it on the webcast, which is over on the Hall of Veterans. That's our exclusive content, but you can always watch it live because we don't like to hold the hobby hostage here at the Long War TV.
So it's not exclusive content. You actually had the opportunity to. It's more like free to play content.
Yeah, there you go. It's free to play. Yeah, you just gotta buy the new skin
if you put the work in and you grind the hours out, you can get everything you want, which is watch it live.
It's like it's at the same time every week. Even it's crazy. But speaking of which, I guess we should note we will not be here next Wednesday. We may be here Tuesday.
Might be here a day early. We'll see.
Or we may just come back a week later after ATC's.
We're going to do our best. We're going to be over at ATC's shotcasting powered by Skillshot. Twitch channel. Which is a Twitch channel. And I'm still slightly confused on exactly what, they're more than a Twitch channel. They're a production company and they power a lot of this generation's esports athletes, professional gamers. So we'll be shotcasting. We talked about it briefly last episode. So that's why we're not going to be here. We're going to be out there doing some rehearsal stuff, trying to get it all ready to go. Rob and I, we're going to be sprucing up. We've got meetings. We got paperwork. I'm trying to get caught up on some of the new tactics for the team format itself and how some of that stuff works. And we're going to do our best to bring the heat, man. So, but don't worry, you'll find it. It's some people asking where we're going to be able to watch the coverage is like, just turn on Twitch, bro.
Yeah.
And half the channels you follow
will be when should one tune in to the Long War TV on Thursday or Friday to catch this?
Thursday, not sure, but Friday, I think first round starts at, I want to say noon. There's 2 on Friday.
Once it starts, it'll be pretty much all day. And we will Twitter blast, social media blast, keep people updated.
2-2-1. There's two on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and the last round is on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Many hours.
Well,
I got my throat coat ready to go.
Gotta have the throat coat, dude. That's pro right there.
Can I say throat coat a bunch of times and not say the F word and I'm fine?
So Kenny demonetized the podcast last week because he said the F bomb so many times.
You guys demonetized it.
Be fancy about it and call it a vocal cord prophylactic.
Oh, I like that. Prophylactic. It's one of my favorite words. No, see, you guys said the F word way more than me. You guys were making fun of me for like 3 minutes. And Haspil even saw. He was the first, he was the first one to say it in the content I put out.
Came in hot, and advertisers were like, "Nope."
These Long War guys, too edgy.
Too edgy. Can't say the F word anymore if you want ad revenue.
It wasn't even like fully.
I'm sorry. I lost us 14 cents, Rob.
It was like 20.
Maybe if we want the advertisers to love us, we just gotta tell them to suck our D.
Yeah,
that's in order to be loved. You gotta tell people to suck your D.
Wow. And on that note, let's talk about some new releases for the Warhams. This week, if you're last week, Star Wars Legion had a couple of releases: Bosk, Sabrine, and I think the AT-ST Erect Terrain also came out. If you're into that tabletop, which was pretty neat. Now, next week, if you haven't heard, the Chaos Knight will be out. Chaos Knight Desecrator for $150 US.
It's a pretty clever name there.
Yes, indeed.
I did enjoy the Duncan reaction video they put up. Where he's like, these new knights, Desecrator. It's kind of an interesting name, but if you think about it, it's pretty clever. because he goes and he desecrates these chaos temples and stuff. You know, it was funny. It did crack me up.
Yeah, it was good. It was funny.
Good job, GW.
Yeah, we need to hire writers for us, Kenny, so we can sound.
God, first got this idea. I heard it from you once.
What's that?
We just need some money.
We just need more money. I figured it out. We just need to make more money, Kenny.
And then,
we do all these things.
Then we can hire stuff and get people.
Yeah, and people. Stuff. So Night Desecrator, $150 US. Blackstone Fortress expansion, Trader Command. That's that cool Commissar, Chaos Commissar, and Chaos Ogren. And a bunch of other stuff for Blackstone Fortress, a new Crackerjack prize that you can open up. Get you a new Heart of Darkness for $60 US. Then there's some card packs, something called the Advanced Arsenal and Endless Peril. Fancy.
Endless Peril. What is this for? Is this for the Blackstone Fortress?
Blackstone Fortress, yeah. They're still coming out with expansions.
Sick.
Chaos Codex Knights. Finally, $40 US. You don't even want to know what Kenny had to do to get his copy. And
they know. I was very clear.
Well, based on some of these rules they've been showing.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that for sure.
Around the world service.
Oh, yeah. And the data card packs are $15. So not sure if they're going to have the data cards like they did with the Imperial Knight release last year. But if you think about it, I guess they're all still valid. The rules haven't changed. It was just the houses and the stratagems. So actually the data card packs that they sold was actually the part that changed rules wise. Think about that. How about that? So that's all the new releases coming out going on pre-order this Saturday. They will be in stores. Wait, am I ahead of myself? This is Apocalypse. Yes, pre-order on this weekend for delivery next Saturday. So while we're at ATCs, all the Chaos Knight stuff will be out. Boom. There it is.
Yay. I'm stoked. Chaos Knights.
And Haspil had some stuff to talk about. He's asleep right now.
No, I was trying to find the name of the company that makes this game. And I couldn't find it in time.
God, if you had just said no, I was just resting my eyes. That would have been such a good callback.
I was training to see in the dark is what was going on. But yeah, there is a new solo board game. I'm big into these solo board games because I don't have people to play with. But yeah, so Dawn of the Zeds is great. Friday, another good one. There's a new one that just came out called Proving Grounds, and it's the first in a series of solo hero board games. And the idea is that you are this warrior that is being framed for trying to take over your mother's throne, and you are thrown into an arena to do trial by combat. And it's like this dice pattern recognition kind of push your luck kind of format. I highly recommend it. It runs like $30 if you can find it. One interesting thing is that the deck of cards that come with the opponents right now is a bit OP. So if you do pick up the first edition of the game, go ahead and go on the company's website, and I will Google it before we're done so I can tell you what it is.
Studios.
It's what?
BrigadeGameStudios.com.
Yeah. So if you go on their website and sign up, they will send you a new deck of cards for your opponents that aren't as hard. So because getting right out of the gate with this thing, when you're playing the tutorial, you just get aced. It's really hard. I played it 6 times before I won. And it is a fantastic game. There is actually an app, and the app is essentially a glorified 1-minute timer. But it has sound and music and stuff and just builds the atmosphere of the game. If you like solo board games, even if you don't, this thing's small. It's a fantastic game. It's really, really good.
I'm down.
Highly recommend.
I'm down to play some card games. This is a card game, right?
No. I mean, it has cards in it, but the cards like represent the opponents that you're facing and how you can track like the damage that you do to them and the damage they do to you. But it's not really a card game. It's more of a dice game.
Yeah, real-time solitaire dice game. That's what they say on their website.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm with it.
It's really good.
The Legend of Solitaire. One of my favorite PC games. Solitaire.
Tim?
Solitaire. My mom's favorite game. I might send her this for Christmas.
You know what? I think your mom would love this game. It even comes with a little novella that has the whole story of what's going on and why you're in this arena.
Oh, she'd read that shit.
Yeah, it's very well put together. It's a solid package.
Huh, that sounds dope. Is there any I guess they haven't announced any video games or anything lately. I thought there was something hitting on Steam.
Oh, it's the Steam summer sale, so I spent like $110 on Steam sales that are $5.99 each.
Oh, if you guys want a super fun single player game, you can also play co-op with your friends, but it's super fun. For like $2, you can play this game from I think it's Double Fine Studios. They made like Psychonauts, Escape from Monkey Island, some of those other really fun kind of wacky games. And it's called Iron Brigade. It is a ton of fun. So definitely check that out on Steam. I played that years ago when it came out. And I saw that on Steam for like $2, and I was like, this game is so much fun. Definitely check that out on Steam.
Yep, wrote it down. Gonna pick it up.
Is that the game you were playing the other day, but you were like super mad?
Oh, it can get kind of frustrating, but it's challenging in an achievable way. Like, it will not punish you really hard. Like, the later levels can get challenging, but you can overcome those challenges if you just kind of think more about.
If only you guys were on the other side of this TeamSpeak call. It's not what it sounded like.
Oh, no, I was getting salty. I was getting super salty.
This is preposterous.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's super fun. It's got a really unique premise. Basically, it's like an alternate extension of World War II, where it goes into sort of like a diesel punk style of mech combat. And so but it's jokey because it's like sort of a fun twist on it. So it's like, well, what's really great at protecting troops on the battlefield? Well, a trench. You can't beat a trench. So they're like, well, let's just put legs on a trench and then put guns on those trenches. And so their mechs are called the Mobile Trenches and the Mobile Trench Brigade. And there's this crazy Russian guy who makes these mecha animal things that are attacking everywhere. And they're making fun of like television as like rotting your brain and like taking over the world. So they're called tubes, like tube TVs. And they all have like TVs integrated into their design and stuff like that. So you're like the good old American soldiers taking it to the Russian guys trying to spread their signal and rot your brains. It's real tongue in cheek and fun.
Sweet.
I'm with it. So pretty light tabletop marketplace.
Well, we got some GW price hikes, so
Ooh.
we needed.
GW raised their prices?
Yes.
What?
Yes, they did. I know, shocking. It was kind of shocking, to be quite honest. I mean, at least to me, because it seemed like in January when they're like, hey, we're going to raise prices on start collecting boxes, and the paints at the time up to $455, but now a lot of paints have gone up. Some of the same paints they raised to $455 are now $780, but you get more value by volume, whatever. Then out of nowhere, they actually came out with a price hike, which, to their credit, they really haven't had a price hike in quite some time. We've seen things like Forge World offering delivery in local currency, which was like 30% more, but not an official. It's not a price hike. It's a price adjustment. Yeah. They told retailers prices have now been adjusted in your area.
They never once actually said we were going to get any kind of discount.
Correct. They haven't. This is the opinion coming out of me. But so
there's no prices due to economic shifts.
They didn't say any of that in the notification to retail. They didn't give any justification. They're just like, hey, prices are going up on these things. The new prices will come into effect on July 8th. Or was it July 8th? I believe it was July 8th. Yes.
They're a British company, and the British economy is in flux right now, to say the least. So types of price hikes are logical, and some of the mental gymnastics people do to try to like figure out why this is happening is a bit hilarious.
Well, they did traditionally always announce them because remember, this is technically we're a month and 3 days into their fiscal year, their 2019 fiscal year, because they end theirs at the end of May, which is pretty smart, to be quite honest, on the retail side of things. But it's the right timing. It's not out of place. It just, I guess it may have caught a lot of people out of unaware. So we're working on breaking down the whole spreadsheet they put out. I think it was 223 items are going up all across their core ranges that they require retailers to stock. So I've got a couple right here that we'll run down real quick just because I got them handy and they're Space Marines. So they pretty high interest. Corvus Black Star went from 65 to 75. Death Watch Watchmaster, a lot of $25 independent characters, $25 character sets went up to $30, which is a 20% increase right off the bat. The Adeptus Titanicus Grandmaster Edition went up from $290 to $299. That's a 3.10% jump. It's still basically like free in GW money, to be quite honest with the game.
You told me something went up in $5 and I'm like, it's the same price.
Yeah, it's basically the same. It's like, oh, okay.
$5 is nothing.
Storm Raven Gunship went from $82.50 to $90. Blood Angel Tactical Squad, $43 to $45. Space Marine Tactical Squad, $40 to $45. Assault Squad, $41 to $45. Bike Squad, $40 to $40. Wait, that's not right.
Yeah, that's not a change.
Yeah, we need to double check that one. Land Spirit, $30 to $35. Devastators, $46 to $50, and just so on and so forth on a lot of things there. Nothing really big. I guess I didn't realize that the Vindicator, the Predator, were like $57.75. Now they're $60, so they went up like $3. If you aggregate all the prices just for the Marine stuff, it's an average price increase of 12.13%. So some stuff went up. Some stuff went up a lot. Some stuff went up a little. Obviously, check the list. They've been posted everywhere on the interwebs, and try to save some money while you can if it's your thing. I've also been hearing that the Apocalypse bundle containing the Dominus Knight, the Castellan Knight, and the 2 Armigers is sold out at retailers. So that was a good value, and people are probably going to be scooping those up to convert to Chaos Knights like they are in the book. So I could see why it's super popular right now. So if you see one and you're on the fence, you might want to pick that one up first. Boom.
All right. So since you ended on Knights, do you want to talk about Knights?
We could talk about the new Space Marines that were sort of previewed first.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Tell me more.
New Space Marines. It's a lieutenant, you see.
Yeah, needed in my life.
So I think the official count is now 12 lieutenant models for Space Marines. I think if I count them correctly.
Don't count the Blood Angels or the Space Wolves or the Dark Angels.
Counting them.
Don't count those.
I think I also counted the store exclusive one that's with the sword, which it may not be a lieutenant. Maybe one off there.
Oh, he's a captain. That guy was a captain. The 500th store opening anniversary was an LT. The one that had he did like the helmet and he was like carrying his helmet. That was
the dude with the orc head. What is he? The one that just came out.
Oh yeah, he just came out. He's like a sergeant.
He's a sergeant?
Yeah, he's a sergeant.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Dude, that's a cool. I want it. Definitely. I want it.
I like the posing. He is a sergeant. Okay. All right.
So fair enough. GW put out a pretty funny little video.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Though it was really good. And you would totally not notice that at the bottom of the image where they're doing the interview is a bunch of fuzzed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. They put like a focus filter over it so you can't quite see what they're. Yeah. You could just you tell it is.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the video, there is like a screenshot of him holding the model, but right behind his arm, you can see the models again in focus.
Strategically placed. What did you guys notice from all that? What did you see in the picture?
Flying rhinos.
Yeah.
Flying rhinos. The prophecy has been fulfilled, friends. is arrived. We have
yet again another flying Space Marine vehicle.
See that like it's a bad thing.
It's annoying.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool AF.
Chaos doesn't have them. He's sad.
Well, Chaos can. I can't swear anymore.
They just got knights, bro. They're behind the times.
Yeah, you just got your Kenny just sucked like a massive hobo dick to get those awesome Chaos Knights. So don't complain.
Yeah, I did what I had to do. You know, I took one for the team.
Yeah, if you're a Chaos player and you see Kenny at an event, go up to that man, shake his hand, and tell him thank you for sucking that homeless man's dick.
Yeah, I've declared it
You did that
to the world, and I said to expedite this codex GW, I would do that, and they held me to it. And now they're already showing us rules and leaks. We've got, and we did a big breakdown actually. Pretty detailed breakdown, and it was like kind of this is what they could do, and this is what I would do. GW who's chosen what I would do for this. So they went with the like seemingly house and sort of a clone of the Imperials.
Mm-hmm.
Break down some of those rules.
You guys are gonna have to do this one. I was really busy that day.
So they put out a rules leak, and so they talked about the Inferno houses and all that shit. So there is absolutely going to be bad guy houses, which in my write up I gave to Rob, I put like they might not do that because it's kind of a stretch narratively, and I think a lot of you'd lose out on a lot of fanfare that way if you just went with the raw like gods of chaos. Like I think that you can kind of more justify these houses or these knights working with chaos because it's like straight up just demonic corruption, you know? But what I would have done is exactly what they're starting to show us. They've previewed a few things. One of which I think is sticking on everyone's mind is what is the Infernus household?
So there's two kinds. There's the iconoclasts and the infernals. And they show a handful of each. So they start off with the iconoclasts. Once per game stratagem called the Vow of Dominance. You select a single iconoclast household model and declare a Vow of Dominance until the end of the battle. When resolving an attack made against that model, an unmodified wound roll of 1, 2, or 3 always fails, irrespective of any abilities that the weapon or the model making that attack may have. That model cannot be selected for the Vow of Carnage or the Vow of the Beast Slayer stratagems. You can only use the stratagem once.
But, you know, it lasts the whole game.
Yeah, it does last the whole game. It's
an interesting roundabout protection spell, basically, right? It means that like things that are strength 9 and above don't wound you on 3s. Is really what that's what it breaks down to, right? Because what's wounding, you have to be strength 16 just to wound a knight on 2s.
Yeah.
So it's cool if you're going up against someone with like las cannon spam, I guess. Right? Interesting, right? So I think it's neat. That's one thing they showed. They
also have a relic that you can stack with that stratagem, and this relic called the Veil of Medringard, which is a reference to the Iron Warriors.
Shout out to the Iron Warriors, Rob.
Yeah. And it just gives them a 4-up invul save against shooting all the time. Yeah, so they don't have to rotate around shields.
Which we predicted is we're starting to get some clones here. The thing that's the most interesting that's not a clone that is very chaos. Read that one out. What is that? The Infernus house?
Oh yeah. So the Infernal household ambition is called Demonic Surge. It says, at the start of your movement phase, each model with this ambition can use a demonic surge. If a model uses a demonic surge, it suffers 1 mortal wound, and then you roll 1d3 on the table. It's provided to determine the rule that applies to that model until the start of your next movement phase. When a model uses a demonic surge, you can choose for that model to suffer D3 mortal wounds instead of 1. If you do, you can select the result from the table instead of rolling to determine it. A model can only use a demonic surge once per battle round.
So, but it says all the dudes who are this can use it.
Yeah, so everybody that's that keyword can do this once at the start of the movement phase. So If we're reading this correctly, it kind of works like a psychic power, right? Where like,
well, actually, yeah, it's like standard chaos psychic power where like you have 3 cool things and you have to randomize which one it is, you know?
Right. So assuming that it's random, if you roll a 1, you get demonic hunger, add 2 inches to this model's move, and add 1 to the advanced rolls and charge rolls made for this model. If you roll a 2, it's demonic fortitude. Add 1 to this model's toughness characteristic. And if you roll a 3, you get demonic power. Select 1 ranged weapon this model is equipped with. Add 1 to that weapon's strength and damage.
That's the one. That's the money one, Rob. You have 2 double Gatlin knights. Each one of them gets takes D3 mortal wounds that turn. You select one of their weapons to go up 1 strength and 1 damage. So now you have 24 shots that are strength 6, -2, 2 damage, and 24 shots that are strength 7, -2, 3 flat damage.
Brutal.
Like that is a really that's a strong autocannon, right?
How does that work with D3? Do you just like add 1 to the result?
That's what I assume is like you roll a D3 and it's +1 damage.
Yeah.
I feel like you definitely.
I mean, that is brutal, man. Like,
D6 weapon could do 7.
We don't even know if there's ways to get rerolls for these guys, like with their.
Yeah, that's just the face of it. So I imagine that, like, with some of the synergies, because usually when they release rules and stuff, they show you like some flashy shit. And then when people get a chance to like get a hold of the rules and really tear it apart, they find the hidden synergies with other units from the super faction that can really, break it open and kind of make it OP. And that's what has to get reined in. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And George mentions in the chat, like, you can have your salty guys with the +2 movement. I'm sure there's going to be an advance and charge, full tilt stratagem. I like how it's like the chaos are paying the chaos price for access to these cool things, like
the iron price.
Yeah, to paying the iron price to get access to these. We already have a stratagem in the index that lets us do full rerolls, so it'd be interesting to see how that's applied to houses now that we're going to have them. But this is very powerful, like chaos knights, with double gatlins, getting a -2 autocannon that does flat 3 damage at that volume of fire is devastating. And so it's just at the mere price of D3 mortal wounds. And then isn't there like a shady like little stratagem that lets you regenerate wounds too?
There's one that lets the knight like come back to life
on a 4-up. It's a stratagem, and on a 4-up you stand back up, which is I think good guys have one of those too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like roll a if your model was destroyed but did not explode, roll a D6 at the end of the phase on a 4. Return that model to play with D3 wounds remaining. Place it as close as possible to its previous position and more than 1 inch away from enemy models. You cannot use it on the same model more than once per battle.
Isn't there another one where you can heal up to 6 wounds by killing units in a turn?
Yeah. Select start of the fight phase. Select a model until the end of that phase. When an enemy model is destroyed as a result of an attack made with a melee weapon, roll 1d6. On a 4, the selected model regains 1 lost wound. Each model can only regain up to 6 wounds as a result of this stratagem in the same phase.
You see, there's a synergy right there already. Like I'm taking these D3 mortals on my guys, and then when I go into a combat with 5 guys to stomp them out, I might bring 3 or 4 back.
Yep.
It's pretty interesting. There's another one too where like every 10 models you get +1 of your attack characteristic, right?
Yeah, that's part of the iconoclasts, the Vow of Carnage. Use the stratagem before the battle, select 1 model until the end of the battle, keep a tally of enemy models destroyed as a result of attacks made by that model. And it doesn't say in close combat, it just says result of attacks made by that model. Yeah. So it could be shooting too. Add 1 to that model's attack characteristic for every 10 models destroyed. Cannot stack with the Vow of Dominance or Beast Slayer. You can only use it once per battle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too, because like one extra attack equals 3 Happy Feet attacks. right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's pretty good. It's really interesting. So like they've only given us, these are nothing. Like, the Knight Codex, the good guy Knight Codex has 1 billion stratagems. So they've only shown us, they showed us a few. And so far they're pretty cool. And there's one in there, like, that's very chaos and very powerful. So I think that they are going to absolutely take the route in our spreadsheet that said, this or this. So I think it's going to be very, it's going to mirror the Good Guy Knights very closely with some chaos flavor sprinkled in. For sure. So that's the good news. And then me and Wyatt had a pretty good talk today in the tactics class about some of his concerns for the game, which I think are worth voicing here.
Yeah. So, one thing, like, before I get into this, I want to preface this by saying that, like, objectively for the game, I want everybody who plays whatever faction you play at some point throughout the season, I want you to have the feel goods about the faction that you play. Everybody deserves that, right? No matter what you play. If you get some new models or some new cool rules or an adjustment that gives you a buff or something like that, we all deserve that feel good. And I don't want people who are chaos players to not get their feel goods, because like I've played chaos. I still have a chaos army. So like if I wanted to start playing chaos tomorrow with these knights, I could. And I want you guys to feel good about that. That being said, we just had an incredibly stale meta for the past, 6 to 8 months of knights everywhere. And the majority of the community voiced their concerns over and over again until finally Games Workshop came out and point costed the knights where they should be, especially the Dominus class knight. And they also adjusted some rules, which they almost never do. Like, they're very reticent to adjust rules. And they actually did that to bring knights back to where they really should be. So they're not so much this like easy to slot into a list, plug and play kind of easy button that they were for so long. And
well, I mean, while also simultaneously maybe the popularity of them had kind of run their course anyway. So yeah, there might be some tactics to why they delay adjustments.
I think there was a general feeling of malaise about knights where they had kind of like the cool factor was definitely like done with. And when you have a meta where like everybody has to tool to beat multiple, like one or possibly 2 or 3 knights at every event you're going to, it's very stale and people are like frustrated by that. And my concern is that with this new codex, we're going to have that again. It's just going to be chaos this time. So I want everybody to like be able to have their new hotness and play with their chaos toys and feel good about being a chaos player. But I don't want another 6 months or more of stale night meta again,
Which is almost unavoidable, Rob. Regardless of, this is what me and Wyatt talked about, is like, regardless of rules, regardless of how OP or not these knights are going to be, Chaos is a very popular faction, and they just got a new hot looking model. And we can talk all day about GW writes rules to sell models. I'm like, that is true, but also GW makes models to sell models. They do both equally, 100%. So they're coming out with rules, which we've been asking for as Renegade Knights, for Renegade Knights. We've been begging for that, doing some things that we may regret, physically with another man in the woods. But simultaneously, we got models. So no matter what these rules look like, we just got fresh ass new models, and GW sells models, makes models to sell models as often as they make rules to sell models. So no matter what happens, all these chaos people are going to pick up these knights and play them. So that is going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, we're going to see an initial resurgence of knights, and that's fine. Like I'm fine with that. What I'm saying is like, I'm just really not looking forward to a world where we have these like glorious 2 months of all of these new fun lists where everybody is trying out these new things and you see models that nobody ever plays before. vehicles of all different shapes and sizes are coming back into the game because we don't have to worry about knights so much. And so like, and that was like a breath of fresh air, and it was really fun. And now I'm just kind of dreading going back into the gulag of having to deal with like triple knight lists for another 6 months.
Yeah,
if these rules aren't adjusted.
No, your point is valid. Like the knight threat, definitely affected what we played if we weren't playing knights. And we just kind of got comfortable, like Wyatt said, bringing like wave serpents and night spinners and fire prisms. I'm seeing all these new Eldar armies and all these cool things that we didn't see for a long time. People are bringing cool stuff back. So I'm like, no matter what happens, like to our competitive listeners, get ready. Knights coming back. Start game of form again. It's gonna be that way for some period of time. And to my chaos friends who are listening to the show, might want to get your ass a couple of nights.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that Games Workshop uses the rules, but they also use new releases to sell miniatures, just like you were saying. So, and the meta has definitely shifted away from, the Castellan and stuff to things like the Crusaders, and when the meta shifts back towards hordes, well, nothing clears out hordes like some Crusaders.
Yeah. I'm seeing some people commenting different things like that. And so like, I should also mention what I'm talking about is I'm not talking about local RTTs. I'm not talking about, game night with your boys, or like small GTs in your regional area. What I'm discussing is like major GTs, the big ones, right? So like you're not going to have somebody that lives in the Southwest travel across the country to a 20-man RTT in Baltimore, right? Like that doesn't happen. So like your little local meta or your little regional meta might still reflect knights being very present, but kind of what we're discussing is a broader sense of the meta across the GT scene, like the big ITC circuit. And for the past couple of months, knights are still there, but
they've taken a break. They've gone to the back seat. Like some of the most notorious players in the game, some of the winners of last year's LVO, Brandon Grant himself, he's not playing his knight anymore. He's playing guard mono. Like people have shifted. People have sort of, and I've talked about this kind of with also the ITC bringing out the new best in faction rules. It used to be a bunch of people aiming guns at everyone's head in a room. And then now, and they used to say like, well, I'll put the gun down if you put the gun down. And that would have been things like knights and soup lists and things like that. Well, now people are starting to authorize and give each other permission to lower the gun. So now people can play other things and experience like kind of the next season. That's where like, LVO, Adepticon, Nova, all these, huge ass events. It's kind of been interesting. We're seeing at these events, new lists are rising to the top. You have to go back to, for at least about however many months, like let's just call it 4 months, for at least 4 months after people start getting these nights in hand and these books in hands, just be ready to plan your list and your competitive play around having to interact with 2 knights and a armiger in some way or shape. And where chaos is going to get sneaky is two knights, an armiger, and 60 plague bearers and the accompanying characters is less than 1,700 points. So you're going to also be seeing these knights supplemented by, 100 demons.
Yeah. And that's kind of another reason that I'm a bit reticent of this whole situation is because unlike the Imperial side of things, Chaos has a lot more ways to slot knights into their lists and maintain the detachments. So it's like, if you're going to do like Imperial side, you have to have like a knight detachment and then maybe a guard detachment and like a Space Marine detachment. Whereas like if Chaos wants tons and tons of bodies, they can do that all in one detachment. Like Chaos Space Marines can have all of the beatstick Chaos characters and the elites and the heavies. And then they have like a billion cultists. Yeah. Because that's within their detachment rules. So it's just like a totally different bag of tricks than the Imperial side of things. And it's kind of what I'm dreading is that like the night stuff is going to come back and it's going to be like even nastier and more annoying than it was when the Imperials were going.
I'm not confident in agreeing with that statement. I'm not saying it's going to be even nastier than the Imperial side of things. It's going to be different and a new unique challenge, because the Imperial side of things had, guardsmen screens, had wyverns, had multiple smash captains. It had a lot of interesting Imperial things that made it very hyper efficient, incredible amounts of CPs and CP management. That was that set of challenges. That was the list. That was the list all last year that won LVO. This is going to be a new set of challenges. I'm not going to say for sure if it's going to be more nasty than the old one, but it's going to be a very formidable challenge. You're going to have Chaos Knights backed with rules to supplement them, new ways to stay tough, new ways to get wounds back, new ways to do even more damage than ever before, plus unique combos, right, to supplement that. And I played the Renegade Knights out the box, but none of these rules just was in the index. I played a few local tournaments with 2 knights and an armorer and 120 cultists that were fearless because Iron Warriors, and did incredibly well with them with no special rules attached to my knights except the arbitrary stratagem we got that lets you reroll stuff. So imagine where people now are all using 60 Plague Bearers that have bonuses to the move. They can do extra damage at close combat. They can get across the table super quick. They got Feel No Pain. And then imagine, they sideboard, another 30 demons for orc matchups, maybe 30 more pink cores, maybe a couple of demon princes, maybe some more hardware. Maybe they're just going to lean on the 60 Plague Bearers. It's going to be a whole new set of challenges that I think people are like, you're fooling yourself if you're not getting ready for it. You got to have to fight them knights while simultaneously interacting with 60, dudes have a 5 up. It's gonna be interesting.
I think the one thing to take out of all this, at least on the retail side of things, is to make sure, if you can, scoop up those Chaos Vehicle accessory sprues, because that's basically what they use to convert those Castellans and those Armigers. So those are probably going to go for a premium if I had to guess, and you're going to want them for your, the Tyrant and the War Dog.
Mm-hmm. I think, what's that one company? Legio Models.
Mm-hmm.
They also make those armor swap kits for Chaos stuff, and they have like a ton of really cool Chaos stuff, like really cool armor swaps for Chaos Knights. They're like themed. They have Armiger stuff too.
Yeah, they got Armigers now. Yeah,
cool.
And Loyalist Dominus stuff. So yeah, there'll be lots coming out from them. I am the sure.
What's the over-under on 2 Knights and Armiger, 2 Gatlin Knights, Armiger, the 315-point Dirty Mike and the Boys Battalion, and 60 Plague Bearers? That could be pretty cool. Right now,
yeah.
And a lot of other people are talking about simply just bringing in things like 3 Lord D's, 3 Eldrakes. It's going to be, we'll see. But, moving on.
Well, I think what we got up next is to break down this week's new releases, the new Primaris Repulsor Executioner and the Dune Rider and Scorpius tank for AdMech.
Oh, I just call it the Higgins. Can't remember all that pig Latin they use to name stuff.
I like the Higgins. That's pretty good. Let's see, which one do you want to start with? The AdMech or the... I got the AdMech open. We're going with that. So the Dune Rider is a transport. It is toughness 6. It has 12 wounds, 3 up save. It has a little 3 Cognus Heavy Stubbers. Oh, wait, that's the other one. 2 Cognus Heavy Stubbers and a twin Cognus and a twin Cognus. Okay, well, whatever. So one is heavy 3, and there's 2 of those. Strength 4 just does 1 damage, and one is heavy 6, strength 4, 1 damage. And you may fire this weapon even if the firing model has advanced, but you must subtract 2 from any hit rolls if you do so. Yeah. It is a hover platform, so they don't suffer the penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons unless it advances in the same turn, but that would seem silly. It has a broad spectrum data tether. No, I actually don't have my AdMech codex, so I can't tell you what the forge rolls do because I totally forgot. But Points wise, this thing ends up being 73 points for a transport, which can fit 10 infantry, but no baller Sirius, no breachers, or no destroyers.
73 for a dedicated transport's not bad. Especially because it's kind of fast. It's toughness 6 with a 3-up save with no invul, so it's like a little soft, but it's 73 points, and a dedicated transport for Mechanicum infantry is something that people have needed and asked for a long time. I was kind of hoping a little beyond hope that this thing would be able to carry more than 10 dudes, just because I was playing with the idea of doing just a boatload of Fulgurite priests, because when you put them in a unit of 20, their max unit size, they're really good. But if they're in a unit of 10, much less so. So I definitely expect to see a lot of these little transports zooming around with Mechanicum players here pretty soon.
It is, I mean, it's got a 12-inch movement, and it bumps down to 9 inches once you half bracket it, and then it goes down to 6 once you get it to 3 or less wounds remaining. So I guess that's okay. I mean, the only thing I've seen of AdMech lately is just people taking, the Rusty 17 and started to take what?
What?
The Rusty 17?
Oh, wow. Okay. I haven't heard that one before.
I just made it up.
Oh, that's a good one.
Nah. Well, I mean, Jeff Robinson ran that, didn't he? At one of his custode armies.
Is it supposed to be like the equivalent to the Loyal 32?
Yes.
Okay. I like it. The old Rusty 17.
Something about it seems dirty, so I like it.
Yeah. There's a specific phrase that comes to mind when I hear it.
That's now a registered trademark.
Ah, damn it.
It's the new Spiky Bits TM. All right. Main battle tank time. Boom, 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 boom. Scorpius Disintegrator is toughness 7, 12 wounds. Again, doesn't bracket down to 9-inch movement until it gets to half wounds. It can have 2 different main armaments: the Baller Sirius Energy Cannon, which is a heavy 3D3 36-inch, strength 6, neg 1, 2 damage, but line of sight is not needed. So pretty powerful mortar-ish. Or it can have the Ferromite Cannon, 48-inch range, heavy 3, strength 8, neg 3, 3 damage straight up. That also comes with 3 of the Cognus heavy stubbers, whatever, we talked about those, and the Disruptor Missile Launcher, which is 36-inch, heavy D6, strength 7, neg 2, D3 damage. Pretty much can move and fire unless it advanced. So with the Ferromite Cannon, it's 116. With the Baller Sirius Energy Cannon Super Mortar, it's 111. What do you guys think?
It's cheap.
It's super cheap.
Cheap for that thing. I mean, the tank version is +1 toughness, right? So it's T7, or is it still T6?
It's T7, yeah.
T7. 3-up
save. Yeah, that's like 111 is still really cheap for a tank chassis like that. Like, shit. I wish.
And it's got indirect fire.
I think the indirect fire is a really interesting mechanic, because then you could almost make the argument to where you could take that Mechanicum battalion, right? Now you could add in 3, because the big thing with Guard, I mean, they used to take out a chance because they're actually good in combat if you engage with your troops with fixed bayonets, but a lot of times they wanted to reroll on the boom booms, number of boom booms. But this is kind of cool because now you could conceivably do the same thing that Guard does, right? And have some buffers, but also now you have these like beefy tanks that are bombarding you with the same, like a super mortar almost, but it's not something that you can just pick up as quick. And it is a larger kind of profile. So you can kind of play grab ass with a few things there.
Yeah, I can see. Does Mechanicum have access to any other indirect?
Not that I know. What does the Walker come with?
Oh, the Doom.
a much
the Dune crawlers have any kind of indirect guns.
I think it's all AA.
Yeah, so giving them what amounts to a whirlwind for a Mechanicum is pretty cool, especially if you want to stay within mono book for best in faction. If they're like 111 with that indirect gun, like that's cheaper than a whirlwind.
Yeah, that's where I'm seeing the strength of it here. Because I'm like, I don't see a lot of these things mattering to people who are using them to augment what they got. But, you know, if you're seeking that mono faction, yeah, these are the more tools you have, the better for sure.
I don't know. I agree. I could definitely see the argument for somebody being like, why would I take guard now? I'm just going to take AdMech. I can do the same sort of things, get my buffers, get my, you know, my speed bumps. And now I can have these like 3 of these cool tanks that can actually do some cool shit. Or you take the main battle cannon, the Fahrenheit cannon or whatever it is. And I mean, it's 3 shots, strength 8. Again, you're hitting on 3s with ballistic skill, and that does bracket down to a 4 after you take half damage. But you're moving, shooting, no penalties to firing. I don't know what the AdMech, I don't know if there's any reroll 1 forge rolls or anything like that. But I mean, that would be even better. Generally, they don't apply to vehicles. Never mind. Usually it's just dreadnoughts and infantry and stuff. But so I'm a little woefully unprepared there. Unfortunately, I don't have the digital of that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an awesome new world right now. Like we're getting all these new units across the board. I mean, like this is where the game needs to be. The game needs to be not like we're not limited to the units in our codex for 10 years. Mm-hmm. We got to get new stuff, and it's got to come semi-regularly. And this is, I think these are cool.
Yeah, and they just dropped them out. They didn't even splash it with any sort of campaign or anything. It's just boom, here's some stuff. Apocalypse.
Yeah, probably be very useful for Apocalypse.
Yeah, doesn't Baller Serious give up full rerolls to all AdMech units? Isn't that his jam?
But he would have to. That is true. So he would have to be within range of them, and because he can't go in the transport. And that was one of the things. And I love. Don't get me wrong.
Check it out. When you're on a long base and you're both on the gun line, and then these things are kind of around you, all within 6 inches, they all move forward at their full distance. He moves up. And like he literally, it's not hard to have them move, get in range, have him be up near them. It's not that tricky. I've been doing it with my new demon engine list on the carpet, on the carpet. But I mean, if he's a staple, I can see this. I mean, I think they're sick. I mean,
that was kind of one of the points that I was just gonna make. Unfortunately, I don't have quite a similar analogy because I've been playing Custodes and I have the 3 Calidus tanks. I'm not sorry. I thought they were cool. I bought them back in 2017.
The Caladiuses?
Yeah, the Caladius or whatever they are.
Caladius is what they are.
Shit's. I don't want to say things so right.
Well, we have things in the game like we have a Calidus assassin and a Caladius tank. We have a Vindicator tank and a Vindicari assassin. Like, so like that's so I always think of those things. Like
everything is gonna eventually sound like
right. So I want to be sure like everyone knows what we're talking about.
There's one more I name for the Primaris, so we can have like a billion I name.
Oh my gosh. Ugh. One of the things I noticed was I was really having a hard time keeping the tanks within range of Trajan because to get the rerolls to hit and the rerolls to wound. So I was going to slim down to 2 because then the Vexilla and Trajan can kind of keep up and keep them buffed. And then it give me. It turns out when you drop one of those tanks, they're pretty much the same points as Pask. And Pask is pretty good too. So I could see where. But now that you make the argument with Baller Serious just kind of pivoting because he's on an oval, that would be way more advantageous for AdMech for sure. So I'm 100% behind. Yeah, he is. We can go. Let's go over the new Executioner Repulsor
from Pentagon Wars.
So I suspect, I don't know for sure, but just judging by the sprues, I think it's going to come. The box is going to come with 3 sprues. Actually, they probably have it listed on GW's site, so I'm just spitballing. But I imagine it's the 2 normal sprues and then a regular upgrade sprue. Well, not necessarily an upgrade sprue, but one that replaces the other one. So I doubt they're going to give you all the sprues in the kit. I would imagine the turret's about the same, but I would imagine it's a little bigger. So if you put it on top, it kind of looks like a bobblehead. Primaris tank, if you put it on the old tank, the new turret. So that might not work out so well. Rules wise, the Repulsor Executioner has a lot of guns. It's got you can either choose the Macro Plasma Incinerator if you want, or the other main battle cannon, which is the Heavy Laser Destroyer.
Yeah.
So
just for expedience, it basically has all the same weapons as a Repulsor.
Yeah, just two new main battle guns that you can choose from, and those are the Heavy Laser Destroyer. We already kind of knew, a 72-inch range, heavy 2, strength 10, neg 4, d6 damage. But if you roll a 1 or a 2, it's an automatic 3.
Yeah, so your damage potential is very stable with that.
Mm-hmm.
It can also shoot its main gun twice if it does not move or moves under half of its distance. So that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
So basically 4 shots a turn with that tank destroyer gun.
I mean, it's unquestionably deadly.
Yes. The problem is that when you turn it into an actual tank killer and put the twin las cannons in the hull mount, it's 299 points.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So that's where I hit my button that goes womp womp.
So if that's what GW values, that kind of firepower, what do you think that after these beta rules and the Caladius is, what do you think those are going to be at?
Those, I mean, I told you 3 months ago or whatever, when I realized, I was like, these are better than tank commanders, and they can fly and they can do all these things. So they're probably at least 250 minimum.
Yeah, and that's fine for Custodes because of like just the sheer toughness of the vehicles. Like they all have invul saves, they all have a high toughness, they all have a good armor save, all that craziness. Whereas like the Repulsor, it's a 3-up armor save and no invul. And 299 points for that tank is just too much. And like, for those of you who don't know, like the reason I keep referring to it as Pentagon Wars is because it's like this vehicle that keeps trying to do all of these things, but isn't really good at any of them. And it's an overcosted point sink. Now, with most Space Marines, they're not going to be much above like mid-tier. Like they're not really all that good. When you put Guilliman into the equation, a lot of things become better, but I still think 299 points for this thing is too much when I could have 2 other dedicated.
Yeah, a lot of people run the regular repulsors and the trip predators.
Yes.
That damage output is very efficient.
But so like I actually was talking about this with somebody else. We mapped out the damage potential. I could take 2 of the Sakaran tank destroyer tanks for the price of this new repulsor tank destroyer, and higher damage potential. And whenever a model is hit by the Sakaran, it makes all of their ballistic attacks for the next turn -1. So that's way more clutch to me to have double the amount of wounds with more damage potential and the ability to debuff my opponent's big guns than this one, what's the word, like kludge of a model.
Well, I mean, and that's what's sad is like we're just talking about this choke point of points. Like it's undeniably a gangster. It has a lot of rules. Repulsors have a lot of rules. Yes. It has a lot of damage output. It's undeniably bad ass tank.
Yeah.
It might be a little overpointed, and GW has swooped in and fixed points. I mean, they fixed Helldricks were over 2, then they were 180, and now they're in the 160s. Maldafians, same thing. They're in the 130s now. Like they will tweak things to make them right. And I would say many people in the community are saying this about the points of this tank. Give it a minute. it's gonna change points because this is the kind of thing GW expedites. When there's gonna be a choke point of people not buying something, they're gonna.
Well, there's strong talks of a updated Space Marine codex coming soon. I mean, those have been the rumors for a while, and that's general. That's old hat for rules releases for editions, right? Is to like everybody gets their turn and then they start the cycle over again with Space Marines. So one can hope that models like this, the actual, like the regular repulsor, which is still over point costed for what it does, and this new tank will get brought back down to where they're like useful in some way.
I can see that happen. You guys want to talk real quick about this this Blood Angel list?
Yeah, let's get to it.
What you got?
So we had some interesting lists over the this past weekend at the Boise Cup, Boise, Idaho. There was a Blood Angels list that was pretty interesting. Starting off with a battalion detachment, we have the Sanguinor, chaplain with jump pack and a power fist, librarian with jump pack, 4-sword inferno pistol, 3 units of scouts. But these guys have storm bolters on the sergeant, and combat knives and bolt pistols instead of your basic scouts with bolt guns. Then we go into a second detachment, looks like a second battalion, sanguinary priest with jump pack, captain with jump pack, thunderhammer, storm shield. There's your captain smashy smash. Another unit of scouts, and a unit of infiltrators, which is that new unit from Shadow Spear box that gives you that like anti reinforcement deep strike bubble, 12 inches, which is pretty handy. And then he rounds it out with a Vanguard detachment, librarian in Phobos armor, another Shadow Spear unit, probably to synergize with those infiltrators. A sanguinary ancient with the Encarmine sword, infernal pistol, and standard of sacrifice. Big brick of 15 Death Company with 5 Thunderhammers, 10 chain swords, and 10 bolters. And a unit of sanguinary guard with Encarmine swords, power fists, and Angelus bolt guns. And he left points over for a assassin.
And he won this event. Or did he go undefeated? What was his deal here?
I actually forget.
I think I saw it on Facebook as an undefeated list. Right?
Yeah, it doesn't say in the article.
I mean, on paper,
that article needs to just do better.
I mean, that list on paper looks like doo-doo.
Just like the article.
Like, but I can see what he's doing with his
second. He went 5. He was undefeated.
Undefeated. So I've seen lists that look weird on paper more recently doing really good. Because if you really break it down in its ITC, he's got tons of infiltrating units to really maximize things like recon and hold more. He might be giving up kill more in a few turns just because he's going to be losing some scouts pretty easy. But that Death Company squad and that Smash Captain can do some work. There's a couple of amazing Blood Angel stratagems like a hyper move on turn 1, drop in out of reserves. Did he say he had the angel wings on the Smash Captain? Or relic?
Probably.
It doesn't have to say in the list. It's a relic, right? You pick it before the game.
Yeah. Where's this captain? Yeah, it doesn't list it. Yeah, so I would guess so, probably. That's the typical Blood Angels guy.
You can do some interesting stuff like deploy the captain, do super moves, deep strike the other dudes. I mean, like there's a lot of pincer moves that you can do to the people with this list while holding down the fort with all those models. Like it's like I can see it has good fundamentals, even though it's this, there's lots of buffs, there's lots of augments, with all the characters. It's actually got a lot of tools. Now on paper, you look at it, you're like, oh, what am I missing here? You're probably missing superior generalship from the person who played it. That's what you're not seeing.
Yeah, it's definitely a factor when you are a player that kind of lives in the mid tiers with those types of factions. If you get enough reps with that army against enough opponents, you can get to be a really prodigious pilot of that list.
And also, it's worth mentioning there is a lot of character spam in this list.
Yeah,
there's a lot of character spam and a lot of infiltrating units to hide those characters. So there's a bit of a character exploit there, which I can get behind. So I mean, there's some cleverness to it. And congratulations to the dude. Do we have the guy's name?
Yes.
Yes.
Thomas Hegstrom Oakley. Thomas Hegstrom Oakley.
Solid name.
Congratulations. Blood Angels are near and dear to my heart. It's badass. That's awesome, man. I mean, every week we're seeing some cool new model faction kicking ass, man.
Seeing this, I mean, I'll take it back. I like seeing this. It's like my favorite time of 8th edition so far, and if that goes away because of night meta, I'll be sad.
I mean, it's gonna happen for at least a brief period of time.
Yeah.
So just gotta roll with the punch.
I'm prepared for it.
Roll with it. Yeah.
You want to cover these other two?
Yeah.
Okay, so same event at the Boise Cup. We had a Space Wolves army. I don't know if Mike's ears perked up. We mentioned Space Wolves. Starting off with a battalion detachment, Wolf Guard battle leader, Jump Pack Storm Shield Thunderhammer, a Wolf Priest.
Man, that guy is the new Smash Captain. I love that guy.
Wolf Priest with a Jump Pack, Crozius, and Power Fist. Unit of Gray Hunters with bolt guns, 2 units of Intercessors, stock, Brick of 8 Wolfen, 1 Frostclaw, 7 Thunderhammer, and Storm Shields. Pretty standard for those guys. They're scary. We have a Storm Wolf Flyer. Then we go into a super heavy detachment. Looks like we have a Crest Knight Crusader, Avenger Gatling Cannon, and Rapid Fire Battle Cannon, and Missile Pod. And he is the Warlord. And then he's accompanied by 2 Armiger Warglaves with the thermal spears and chain cleavers.
That's awesome. He ran the runny guys.
Yep. He also has a 88 reinforcement points for that assassin.
I've seen a lot of lists like that. Doesn't surprise me. You can put anything into something like that and know you're going to do okay.
Yeah, it's solid. I mean, it's not. Solid. It gets like so. The Blood Angels definitely had like mono build, so he's competing.
Blood Angels is more groundbreaking. This list is. It's cool that you chose Space Wolves as to play on your night list. Not bad. I mean, you don't see enough of that. I love it. Could have easily just picked Guard or Smash Captains or something else, but he didn't. He got Wolfen. My man has Wolfen. I'm with it.
Yeah, Wolfen are scary. Those dudes. We have a list from the Desert Rat GT, and this is some Tyranids. We haven't seen Tyranids recently, so this is pretty neat to see. Hive Fleet Kraken Battalion. We got a Broodlord and Malanthrope. 2 20-man unit of Gene Stealers. A unit of 21 Termagants.
That's his screen.
Yep. Second Kraken Battalion, Hive Tyrant, Flyrant, a Neurothrope, unit of Ripper Swarms, big 30-man unit of Termagants, 27-man unit of Termagants, and then rounds it out with a Vanguard detachment of Hive Kraken, Hive Tyrant. This one does not have wings. He's on the ground. So he's doing like adrenal glands, heavy venom cannon, bone swords, all that good stuff. And then a unit of 6 Hive Guards with shot cannons.
That's important.
And then 2 Lictors with the flesh hooks and rending claws.
Pretty cool. We got some Kraken gangstiness. It's got some of that unparalleled speed combined with some solid shooting, some big guys to hold down the flanks, some big screens, lots of bodies. Yeah, it's pretty cool. He's got a couple of things in there you don't see normally, but I do see versions of that list a lot.
You see the shot cannons? People.
No, I don't. No, actually, I don't see the shot cannons. Actually, I forgot about that.
I think that's why he took them.
They normally run the impaler cannons, right?
Mm-hmm. The indirect.
Yeah, that's interesting. And how did you do at the event?
I don't know if it says or not. Let me see.
GT. It doesn't. I know who wrote that article. They should be ashamed of themselves. He got
fourth place in the Desert Rat GT.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Some off meta stuff, man. This makes me happy to see, guys. Keep up the great work. It's awesome. I saw, it reminds me of I was watching some Street Fighter over the weekend on Twitch. I think I saw was Bonchan was repping Zangief, I think.
Oh man.
I was like, yeah. Make me happy. Give him good work.
I want to know who that dude is that actually dresses up like Birdie to play Birdie in those events. He's
it might not have been Bonchan who was playing Geef. I can't remember who it was, but somebody almost eliminated Takedo with freaking Zangief.
Man, it's awesome.
Crazy.
When's Evo coming up? We need to watch Evo.
I think it's usually October, right?
Oh, okay.
God, I'm getting hyped. You ready to play some Street Fighter 5 tonight? We love that game. That's awesome. That's a great week in 40K, man. There's a lot of things to be excited about. Not limited to all these releases, but as we said at the top of the show, if you're just tuning in or you skipped the first part of the show, we will be in Chattanooga at the ATCs next week.
Yep.
We might not be on the air next week because of travel times. And we'll be shotcasting that 5v5 team event powered by Skillshot. It's going to be crazy. So I apologize for a content blackout that is inevitable, but we're going to do our best, guys.
Haspil, take us out of here.
I can no longer sit back and allow communist infiltration, communist indoctrination, communist subversion, and the international communist conspiracy to sap and impurify our precious bodily fluids.